All right, so here's this year's setup. So let me take you through and let's just see how everything kind of worked out here. So what you can see here is that we actually started out with a little bit of an A-frame design. Yeah, I got the idea somewhere on the internet somewhere, but I think with that one, they had basically about 3-inch tall basil, and they had 150 basil plants on it, and that was fine, but I don't know how much you're going to use all of that basil. So with me, I wanted to take and have multiple different varieties of things. But before we get into that, let's talk a little bit about the construction. So yeah, I took and had this A-frame piece here where we have the 3 A-frame structures, and made sure I took and screwed them all together. Instead of using nails, I use screws because I like to change stuff, and so things changed a little bit here and there. And so so the main structure is basically it has the 8 PVC pipes. So we have the 4 of them on each side. So basically last year I did the 2x3 downspouts, but I found that the 2x3 were just not enough room for the plants that I needed and for the roots. So we went up to the 4-inch here, and so you can see how we have they're all tiered, and so there's room for each one of them to grow. And so we have the taller varieties are going to be growing on the bottom, but let's go around a little bit more and see where some of my taller plants are right now. And so over here you can see these are a lot of my tomatoes. So this is what I would call a tomato row. And so my tomatoes are really doing really well and growing. They're starting to grow tall. Obviously I had to take and support them. And so with the tomatoes and everything that's tall, you need to make sure that you have something that's supporting them. So I have these strings that are going all the way down to the downspouts down there, tied in, and then they're tomato clipped to those lines and those strings there to give them support. Because when the wind comes along, they're going to need support, or they're going to snap off and break. Especially when tomatoes start coming in, they start getting really heavy. They're definitely going to need that support. So I took, and you see where I started out here. I had the extension out to where I had the upper support, but then as things came along, I realized, I got to extend that out a little bit farther. So that's where that kind of came in. But on this side, you definitely can see where I've got the 1 row at the bottom for all the taller plants, and then over here on the next row up, we have things that are going to take and be a little bit more viney. So we have right here we have cucumbers, and so they are also supported with strings that are tied all the way down to the bottom of the downspouts, and they're tomato clipped, and they want to climb, so they're going to keep climbing up, but they'll be supported by that. Then your next tier in the are shorter growing types of plants. So there was a little bit of thought that I was trying to put into going, what am I going to put and where? So up on here in the 3rd tier up, I've got some bok choy, I've got some lettuce, there's some basil, there's some cilantro, more bok choy, and then just lower rise plants. And then as we go up just a little bit farther, we'll see these are my strawberries. And so on one side I've got a row of I think they're called pine berries. I think they're white strawberries. But then over here on this side I have red strawberries, and I think if you dive in there you might be able to see one of my berries that's actually getting ready to be completely ripe, so I'm going to eat some more berries. So we got this three support A-frame type of a structure. So how did all of this stuff work? Well, obviously, everything is run by nutrient solution. And so we've got our nutrient basin down there on the bottom. Now, something else that I want to take and be doing here real soon, now that the heat is starting to come in, I need to encapsulate that so that it's a little more insulated, so it's not getting the heat. Another thing on your basin is you definitely want to make sure that you're utilizing a very opaque basin, because you don't want any of your nutrient solution to be get any light to it, because then you get algae growth, and then everything is starting to, algae starts eating at all your stuff. So light is the enemy of hydroponics. So we have the basin down there, and real quickly it comes out through my pump right there, through the manifold, and it dumps into each one of these downspouts, through these 1/4-inch lines. So they go in obviously through this side, and so then we come all the way down here, and so it goes through all the plants. Plants suck it up, and so then it's got to go down these pipes. So it goes down the pipes, and then comes all the way down here. They're all connected together. Then there's a little T right there that takes that line all the way back to the basin. And so it is a closed system. The nice part about this is that last year had a lot of leaks. This year spent a lot of time making sure that I was able to really took and got my my connections very watertight. I didn't use like pipe bond, because I didn't want them to be permanent if I wanted to change something. So I actually used silicone, silicone caulk, and so if I do need to take these apart, they'll come apart a little bit easier. But everything is watertight this year, don't have any leaks, and so I'm not wasting any nutrient solution. All right, so how do I take the fluid inside of it? Well, for this system, this is a little different for me than some, because some would say that this is an NFT system. Well, I think mine is a little bit of a combination between an NFT, maybe a deep water culture system, because I have a inside of mine. You might not be able to see it real well, but I have drains in each one of them, and there's a little riser in each one of those, so that it will keep a certain amount of water and solution in my pipes the whole time. So if I have a pump failure, I do have a little bit of latitude and slack by having a certain amount of water always in the system. So that's one nice thing that I like about mine, is that I got a little bit of grace in case I have a pump failure or a power outage. What else about this system? So these ones right here, these are more of a cracky type of a setup. These are the ones I was using inside to get my seedlings going, and then when it came warm enough for everything to come outside, I brought these out and I just set them here, and so they're just a static crack key where I have them half filled up with a nutrient solution, and I have a lot of my smaller plants are in there. So I think right here I got some arugula that's growing. Here's more arugula right there that's actually a little bit farther along. I got some spinach right here, a couple little pepper seedlings, a little bit more bok choy on the bottom there. I think I have a little bit of okra over here that's starting up too. So as everybody gets older, the one nice thing about this system too is that once they get to a certain point, I can just take and pull this out and go put it in a different place where it will do a little bit better. So that is the basic setup of this year's hydroponic system. So like I said, this is a multi-part series, and if you have any questions about it, put it in the comments and I'll be happy to take and send you a reply, let you know, answer your question the best I know. But as I said, this is, we're DIY land. We're still learning, and it's working out pretty well. And so I'm already eating from my garden, so that's a great thing. So we'll move into the next piece of this. We'll be in the next part of this series. Again, hit that subscribe button. I'd love to take and have you along with the journey with me. Thanks. Bye.